Hey there, pedagogy students. Well, this is installment 2 in a series called Arpeggios. And today, we're going to start off with some super easy ones, a little bit easier than the ones I gave you the other day, I think, and progress as follows. First book I'm going to read from is the Bill Swick Teaching Beginning Guitar Class. And we're going to be looking at page 176 and 183, which makes it really easy just because you're so familiar with that book. And then I'll follow that up with from the Barcelona book, which you have in your materials online that I sent you. We're going to start in chapter 3 on page 43. I know you can't see this, but I'm showing it to you anyway. You know, kind of lame sometimes. Page 43, we're going to be looking at some very simple finger picking patterns, and they have the tablature. So if you're having trouble reading, you can cheat a little bit and use the tablature. Anyway, page 43, 44, 45, and 46. And last but not least, we're going to look at Scarborough Fair, which is kind of a thing to aspire to. Perhaps you could do it for your final. So these are all leading to something. They're all giving you different ways and perspectives of looking at arpeggios. It doesn't mean that anything that we did the other day is not valid. On the contrary, the idea of planting your four fingers on the strings before you play is crucial when you play arpeggios. So, the very first one in the Bill Swick book on page 176 is called AM Study Number 1. And it's P-I-M-A. And you put them on the fingers thusly. P on the whatever bass string it is, either the 5th, 4th, or 6th, just like we talked about. Index always stays on G, or 3rd string. Hope you're learning those numbers. Middle finger on the 2nd string, and A finger on the 1st string. So let's get started. Super easy. So, I don't have my metronome handy. Oh, I do. Here it is today. We're going to take a look at doing this first one. And the first one is really easy because it doesn't use left-hand chords. I know the other day I gave you one that went from, different chords. I can't remember what they were. But this one starts off super easy because there's no left-hand chords. And it sounds kind of barren or bland, but let's try it anyway. So I'll focus on the right hand so you can really see it. So this first one starts with a thumb on the 5th string, and I'm just going to do the P-I-M-A at that tempo. So play along. It may take you a couple of times people play it along, but here it goes. 1, 2, these are all quarter notes. Just goes to the 4th string with the thumb, back to the 5th string. Super easy. Low 6th string. First one, the 5th string, 4th string. Told you it was easy. Then here there's a little bit of so there's the first one. So when you add the left hand, which Bill Swick does just a few pages down the line, we were on 176. And now I want you to turn to page 183. Don't panic, okay? What we've got here is we've got chords now in the left hand. Super simple, just an A minor chord, a D minor chord, and an E chord. And we've been tooling around with all these different E chords. Sometimes you need an E chord, an E7 chord. Remember, you had the D or the 7th note on the scale. And sometimes we play an E minor chord. I know you're learning those, so keep at it. So, in this one, we're then going to add the chords to the same pattern that you just did in the right hand without the chords. And what that does, I'll focus more on the left hand, and you can see the top of my head now. So, here we go. This is adding the chords most of the time in this progression of A minor, D minor, and E. There's a 2 measure assortment of chords. So you have 2 measures of A minor, 2 measures of D minor, etc. Okay? So here we go. Play along. I'm going to slow it down a bit because it's harder, of course, with the chord changes. So we're going to go super slow. Here I go. Now changes to D minor. Just keep that sound strong. Back to A minor. And now we're approaching an E chord. Back to A minor. Back to D minor. Nice and easy. Keep the sound strong. A minor and D. And A minor. And bass note. There. Now, you might have noticed, maybe you didn't the first time, but you might the second or third, that sometimes I didn't play the whole chord because I simply didn't need it. If I'm only playing these strings, I don't even need my 4th string finger, so I just take it off and replace it with an easy one. So the A minor doesn't have to be your full A minor. It can be just a simple A minor, like that. The D minor I just left. See how easy the change is now? Because I made the A minor simpler. He doesn't tell you that in the book. You learned it here. That 2nd finger down, easy to play. Now, here's the best of all. When you play the E chord, just use 1 finger. You don't need the 5th or the 4th strings. No, it's a waste of energy, folks. Just get rid of them. Use this one. So, if you can incorporate that into your chord changes, fantastic. Little break here, and then I'm going to change book.